You're listening to a Joycast from GLBTIQ community radio station, Joy 94.9. Bent Notes is our weekly jazz program going to air each Sunday night.
From the weary blues. Hey, 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 hey. Sweet boys, syncopate your mama all night long with the Dixie refrain. I'm gonna play it once and then we'll play it again. Every time I hear that tune, good luck will be with you soon. Gonna rock my soul to the Montenberg joy.
There we go, all that in-studio audience applause for what was another live studio performance. Gee, that audience goes on for a long while. It must have been a good presentation, I reckon, from a team here who call themselves a band, because they are a band. They've been a band for many years. And foot-tapping hum-along music is one description of what we just heard. It's from one of Melbourne's most sought-after six-piece trad, jazz and Dixieland band. They've been around since 2009, specialising in classic hot jazz of the 20s and 30s, and I think a little bit more of the more recent music as well, at least new arrangements of it. From Shirazz, we welcome once again to the Bent Note studio trombone player, vocalist, band leader and co-founder, Matt Dixon. Welcome.
Thanks, David. Great to be here.
It's great to have you in studio again. And what better way to introduce Shirazz than having you play live in studio?
Well, we've been talking about it for years, but it's so good to be in here finally. Well, with four of us anyway, 4 out of 6
4 out of the 6. That's a pretty good turn-up. And I must say a very, very big thank you to each of you for taking your time out to... do that again. That's a good sound to introduce the members of the band, I think. Matt, who have we got on washboard?
On washboard, we've got Michael
things?
DeCecco.
Welcome, Michael. On bass.
On bass, Stephanie Bell. And on trumpet, we got Andrew Power.
Oh, very nice. You can all introduce yourselves that way, can't you? Now, Matt, you appear all over the place, so many festivals and gigs of your own that are private gigs. What is it about the music that Shirazz play that has made you so popular?
Well, I think it's a lot of different reasons, but one of the things that we keep finding is that people who don't think they like jazz hear our music and suddenly think, actually, jazz, I can get on board with that. You know, I think a lot of times jazz comes across as like rightly or wrongly, as a bit of a sort of pretentious kind of art form, especially when you get into some of the more modern genres and stuff. But when they hear our brand of trad, they can really understand where it's coming from and dance and tap their feet and get along with it.
It's something that has been around this style has been around for so many years. There must be something about it that it's still here.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Will the jazz of today, the little bit more out there stuff, still be here in 100 years' time, is the question.
That's a good question.
But I reckon the music that you perform with Shirazz will be definitely here in 100 years.
Well, it's had staying power so far, so I think it's a good sign.
Now, I have read a little bit about Shirazz and have seen you perform a number of times. Certainly the Marysville Jazz Festival, you seem to be a recurrent theme to keep the show up and running. But there's a touch of irreverence about your performance sometimes. Is that part of the larrikinism that you want in your group, that you focus on that touch as part of the I suppose the branding?
Yeah, I think so. We never tried to take ourselves too seriously. Probably if we did, I don't know. It's not really our thing. We make sure that we're pretty relaxed on stage, just out there to have fun. And if we're having fun on stage, the audience seems to have fun too, and that's the main aim of it. Festivals,
weddings, corporate events, and I did hear something, and so I think I saw a couple of pictures on Facebook about a high-flying party over Antarctica.
Yeah.
As well as your general gigs at pubs and bars. Do you have a favourite style of gig?
Oh, they've all got something to offer. We do a lot of sort of festivals. They're great because there's a lot of other bands there that you get to catch up with and see all sorts of other music. That Antarctica flight was fantastic. We've been doing that at New Year's for the last 3 years now. We love doing weddings, of course.
Is there a secret to being a wedding band?
Again, I think it just comes down to enjoying what we do, and the punters and the wedding guests will enjoy what we give them. I think generally wedding guests have been very appreciative. So, yeah.
That's good to hear.
We get away with it somehow.
You'd like to think they would be. So, Shirazz started back in 2009 or thereabouts. Has the band developed the way that your mind thought it might?
That's an interesting question. I think in a lot of ways it has. We've been, over the last year and a half or so, we've been doing quite a bit of change. Andrew joined about a year and a half ago on trumpet, and Steph joined about a year ago on bass, although they've both been working with us previously, ad hoc sort of thing. But I think that's given us a real new sort of energy, new sound that's come through on this latest recording as well.
Now, that's a question. You're a busy band. How did you find time to record?
Well, the great thing is that it was really quick, actually. Michael is on drums, is also our sound engineer, and we basically stepped into the studio, put some mics in the middle of the room and a couple, where we needed to get a bit of an extra sound, and then we just played. We just played for 2.5 days, and at the end of that we had 12 tracks of what we think is pretty good material. And so it was just a real old school style approach to recording, but it was something that worked well for our style of music, and worked well because it only took a weekend and we had the album.
It's interesting that you're talking about old style recording of just essentially everyone in the same room and minimum microphones and off you go, because it seems that is coming back. Over the last couple of years, there's been a number of albums where the performers have said, that's the way we're going to record it.
Yeah, I think for us especially, we've tried the high tech approach with a microphone close mic'd in front of every instrument, and you find you spend so long mixing that together just to get the same sound that you originally had on the day anyway. It doesn't make sense for us, and I think a lot of bands are realising that their best sound is the live sound, and if you can just get something that's very close to that on the record, then then that's what you should go for.
It's certainly the sound that we as an audience hear, and we think that'd be great to hear at home, and that's what we want to hear on the LP. So if LP, that's showing my age, isn't it, on the album, it's great to hear that that's the way things are going. I believe you've got another song for us.
Yeah, we're going to play another tune from the album. That last one we played, by the way, was Marlenberg Joys. And we're going to play a tune called I Can't Give You Anything But Love.
Shirazz on Joy 94.9.
Well, I can't give you anything but love, baby. That's one thing that I got plenty of, baby. Dream a while and scheme a while, I'm sure to find happiness, and I guess of those things of which you pine for. Gee, I'd like to see you looking swell, baby. Oh, diamond bracelets that Woolworths doesn't sell. No, but still that sunny day. I mean darn well, baby, that I can't give you anything. No, I can't give you anything. Well, I can't give you anything but love.
My guests on Bent Notes tonight are Matt Dixon and Shirazz. You're listening to Bent Notes on Joy 94.9.
Thank you for listening to a Joycast from Joy 94.9. Find more Joycasts and show blogs, go to joy.org.au.
You are listening to Bent Notes on Joy 94.9, where my guests are Matt Dixon and Shirazz. Matt, are there any particular musicians that you have particularly looked to for inspiration when getting Shirazz up and going?
Oh, well, it's sort of, we try to cast the net rather widely, so we've got a little bit of almost everything in there. Obviously, the original Dixieland bands, New Orleans bands, Louis Armstrong, King Oliver, all that sort of stuff. Then a whole lot of the sort of swing revival stuff that came out of the UK and like Kenny Ball and Akabilk and that sort of stuff. And then right up to bands that are playing today all across the world. And then we also look outside jazz as well, and take a lot of influences from sort of funk and ska and various sorts of, whatever we hear, we try to incorporate it as much as we can.
So you're incorporating those styles into something that's been around for many, many years to bring it up to date?
Yeah, to bring it up to date, but also just to make it our own, and to give it, especially when we're playing for audiences that aren't particularly jazz aficionados. They like to be able to hear songs that they know, or motifs that they recognise and things like that. So if we can chuck a little bit of that in, and some of those influences, it really sort of helps broaden our appeal a bit. We throw in songs from the Beatles and from Amy Winehouse and things like that, just to give people another sort of latching on point. The
albums you produce, you've used, what's the number 5 now? This new one, isn't it, Shirazz? Yeah. You've put so many great songs on there. How do you keep finding great songs for these albums?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we've just about run out of good songs now. We're going to have to put some bad ones on the next album.
So does that mean it's going to be called Bad Wine?
Yeah, maybe it'll have to be. Corked. No, look, we come across material, as I said, wherever we hear it, whether that just be like hits from the radio and stuff, or just these days with tools like Spotify and streaming platforms like that, you can actually just listen to thousands of songs that you never would have come across otherwise. And even if only one every 20 or 30 or 40 catches your ear, at that point you can say, hey, that's a real good tune. And then you look up, other versions of it and see that, oh, actually this one comes from 1932 and it's, it's got this other stuff. So I reckon tools like that are really good to be able to just expand your listening horizons.
And I believe you're going to allow us to hear one more piece tonight.
Sure thing.
Excellent. What have you got?
We're going to play the final tune from the album, fittingly, and this is a tune called Blues My Naughty Sweetie Gives to Me.
Well, please be naughty on Joy 94.9.
and sorrow. There are blues that you get from fame. There are blues when you're lonely for your one and only. Those blues you can never explain. There are blues that you get from sleepless nights. And the bluest blues to me. They're the only blues that are on my mind. They're the very, very bluest kind. Blues my naughty sweetie gives to me. Hey.
Joy 94.9 is a GLBTIQ community radio station in Melbourne, Australia. Support Joy 94.9 by becoming a member at joy.org.au.